All right, everybody. Shalom and welcome. It's been a few days since we've been live, so it's fun to be live with you guys, broadcasting live from Judea, Israel. And it's continuing to be a beautiful um, rebirth of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. It's happening. I was driving around today, seeing the South Hebron Hill communities, helping them out, and Hebron, and Judea, northern Judea, which is Gush Etzion, and Jerusalem. It's all happening. It's all happening, and babies are being born, and buildings are being built. Jerusalem is being built, and at the same time, we are still fighting a very tough war in which people are dying, soldiers are dying at a clip that's really hard to swallow, very painful, and at the same time, um, that some Jews are dying, there is a tremendous effort against us in the narrative war as well. I've been sent a lot of videos by viewers like yourselves. People send me videos showing me how bad the war against Israel is out there. So it's really something that we have to continue to fight. And so we decided to go live today and to really talk about the issues and to talk about what we're seeing out there. Today also marks the reality of a Iranian Iranian mullah regime that is teetering. Maybe there is some reports that Khamenei is himself very ill, either in a coma or maybe actually dead. There's all kinds of reports right now. My mom said to me, "Be careful with these reports that a Middle East leader is dead because they do that to kind of trick the haters of that regime to show themselves, and then they kind of are like, ta-da, I'm not dead at all. I'm actually alive and here. I want to strike at you now that I know that you've revealed your ugly face." And so we don't know that for a fact if Iran's leadership is actually in trouble or not, but there are reports over and over again that he's in a coma, that he's dying, that he's dead, that he's got cancer. Maybe it's just a ploy for them to make sure that Israel doesn't strike at them. So that's on the Iranian side. On the Israeli side, we've had actually attacks on the prime minister's residence, not from haters, excuse me, not from enemies, but from internal Israeli folks that are anti Netanyahu. And so that's also a very dangerous reality that we find ourselves in, that we have people that are taking more and more towards violence in this atmosphere, this more violent atmosphere that this time has allowed inside the democratic discussion that is part of what Israel is. There's more of this sense of like anger, at least from some small parts, against Netanyahu. And so the Iranian leadership's in trouble. The Israeli leadership is sometimes challenged. As we said, the narrative war continues as well. On the other hand, we have a great victory for nationalist, patriotic, pro-Israel thinking in the United States. And we haven't really talked together here on the live stream since that time. So we have to really say thank you to Hashem and thank you to the American people for electing, and I don't even want to say electing President Trump, but electing an administration that is pro-family values, pro-Bible, pro-common sense, and just and certainly pro-Israel. So that has been a big deal, and we're still working that out. Everybody's like the coffee rinds are still kind of settling. They're still settling down. People are starting to think about like, what does it mean? Because the American people's decision for a president is not just the American president. That's not the way it works. It has an impact on global culture. There are certain things and events and media outlets that have an impact on markets around the world. The Trump victory is a market changing, and I don't mean just the stock market. I mean the marketplace of ideas. It has shifted, and it will be shifting towards, hopefully, towards more pro-Israel, more pro-Bible, more pro-family, more a smaller government, less entrenched administrative bureaucracy like we have here in Israel as well. So there is definitely changes afoot. There are definitely changes afoot. And yet the war against Israel rages. You'd think that all the bad guys would just kind of melt away into quietness and into nothingness and kind of slink away after the Trump victory and after the fact that Israel is surviving very much after a year of war against it and has uh, decimated Hamas, is doing a job on Hezbollah as well. But the bad guys don't give up that easily. They really just don't give up that easily. They have a lot of energy, and you got to hand it to them. And I'm always, giving the enemies the credit that they deserve as being full-fledged haters of Israel. And they have a lot of strength in the media around the world. And people keep sending me awful videos that are made by mainstream outlets or powerful outlets on YouTube. And they think to themselves, well, Israel, is not doing that great. And I just saw right now, I just saw somebody just wrote, April says Israel will come out on top. I think so. I'm betting on it, but I just saw a Jordanian foreign minister saying, the Zionist project is over. Here's another comment which I like a lot. I am from Turkey and support Israel. I love you, Israelis. That's great because right now Turkey is being really one of the funders of anti-Israelism, anti-Israel media, hate of Israel, and even terrorism. So we have, look, there's so many people out there that support Israel, and yet there are so many haters. And what can I say? The haters are not done yet. They still have strength out there. And we have to be aware that that they're not going to sleep anytime soon. And they still have, they're energized, and they think that they're on the march towards victory. Our job is to make sure that they know that they're not on the march to victory. Our job is to make sure that they know that there is no hope for them, and that they will not be victorious, and that they will also not bend the minds of the next generation, because that's also one of their hopes, is that even if they're not victorious right now, they will bend the minds of young people to a consciousness that is anti-Israel. And it's important to keep fighting that. For example, here's somebody that's writing, the Guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleep, Baruch Hashem, but the Guardian newspaper in the UK is very anti-Israel. So we have to continue to fight out there. I am not alone in my effort to fight. Over Shabbat, I was with our good friends Ari Abramowitz and Jeremy Gimpel at the Arugot farm, one of the most beautiful places in the land of Israel. And today I was out there driving through nascent Jewish communities, so-called hilltops, but really heroes that are rebuilding the land. And I want to say to you a few things, which is, one, there are heroes out there. There are heroes in the army. There are heroes on the hilltops. There are heroes even in Knesset. There are heroes around the world that love Israel and are fighting for Israel. And the other thing that I want to tell you is, if I haven't made it clear, the opportunity to come to the land of Israel and to live here is the most exciting opportunity that any Jewish person has in our time, in the last 2,000 years. Not in our time, you have the opportunity to fulfill the dream of 2,000 years. And really, I am so thankful that I get to share the ups and the downs, the trials and the tribulations, the sorrows and the great joys, moments of joys, the highs and the lows in this good land. And I do want to call out to all of our brothers and sisters, if you have such an opportunity to move to this land and to be part of this fight and to be part of this rebirth, it is certainly the greatest opportunity. And if you can't make Aliyah just now, just coming on a trip, it's not easy because the tickets are expensive and only El Al is flying. And God bless El Al. God bless El Al for flying. But the point is that this is the time to be part of it. And if you are watching this show right now, unless you're like one of the few haters, most likely you are a lover, like Hikaru, who writes, "Proud Zionist here." You probably are a lover. And this is the time to love Israel even more. Okay, it's easy to love Israel when Israel's totally on top and awesome and shining bright. But it is an amazing opportunity right now to be part of this fight. And I tell every group that I meet that's in Israel right now, I'm like, you're so lucky that you're here right now. You're so lucky that you're part of this fight right now, that you flew in to be part of it. My friend Samuel from Blessed by Israel is fighting his own fight, his way of fighting against the anti-Israel bias. Let's watch a little video of Samuel.
In St. Louis, this is Samuel.
So he's at Trader Joe's, right? He went to Trader Joe's and he made a little video.
I'm here at Trader Joe's in St. Louis. This is Samuel Blessed by Israel. About a week ago, I don't know if you all saw this, but about a week ago, these ladies from a group called Code Pink came out, made a big stink. Code Pink made a big stink about Israeli products that are being sold at Trader Joe's. They took lots of products, stuffed them in shopping carts, and then took them to the manager of Trader Joe's and said, "You can't no longer carry these products." And I saw that and I thought to myself, you know what? That's a great idea. Why don't I? And why don't we all start filling up carts full of Israeli products? We're here to come to this Trader Joe's, not to only fill up shopping carts with products, but also buy those products, which is the difference. We got all the products. We're supported Israel. We got a full cart here. Baruch Hashem. Thank God that we are fighting this fight. We're on the winning team. Everybody keep it up. I encourage you, go to your local Trader Joe's, get the products, support Israel, support Trader Joe's and the Israeli products, and finally go to blessedbyisrael.com, blessed B-U-Y Israel, and get products there as well. Am Israel Chai.
Nice. Great video. Simple and awesome. And the point of this video is that you see somebody boycotting Israel, just go the other way. Exactly. He wasn't like boycotting the boycotters. He wasn't like Code Pink, you're so evil. He's like, I am shopping pro-Israel. And he was showing what the vast majority of Americans who shop at Trader Joe's feel, which is, this is great. I want wines from the Holy Land. So get out there and fight your fight in some awesome way like this. I'm so proud of that video, of like such a simple and joyous and energetic. You know, the other side is lifeless. You know, they are dark. You know, they just don't have a life inside, a life force. And you saw that life force. Like, I love Israel. I love Trader Joe's. Here I am. All right, let's see what this comment is. I'm an Arab and I'm aware about the falsehood of Arab propaganda that damaged possible great friendship with Israel. This violent propaganda must fall down in order to achieve true peace. Amen. Thank you very much for that comment. That's true. Israel's got to fight the narrative war. It's also got to fight the physical war. And I have a video here of one of Israel's great fighters, a great warrior. I need to show you this video. Don't get nervous. This is like, you're seeing one of the great like fighting heroes of Israel. Let's take a look here. Wait. Oh. Oh, yes. That guy's on target. Switching clips here. Next. Shoot him out. Boom, boom. Good job, Yishai. Just one more clip. Oh my gosh. That is good fun. I annihilated that thing. Anyway, bottom line is that my friend Michael got me a new sights for my M4, and I had a great time practicing. But it's not a joke, because the bad guys are out there, and you have to be ready spiritually. You got to know how to fight with Shema Yisrael, with God's hand, and you also got to know how to shoot accurately, quickly, and beat the bad guy to the punch. That's very important. So both of those things are important, and we know how to. We got to know how to keep both of those senses in our heart, which is how to shoot straight, shoot the bad guys, and also rely on God and thank God for the strength that He gives us. Okay, before I go on, I want to thank Daniel Braids for doing a super chat, and we'll be very proud to put up the super chats. It's a great way to support the show as well. And he says, Danny says, Isha and Malka, the best representation of Israel. Halavai, it should only be that way. We should only represent Israel and God's message with strength and positivity and get it out to the world. And you mentioned here Malka, Danny, and guess what? I got a gift for you, gift for all of us, and that is our beloved Malka Fleischer. Malka, shalom.
Hey, Ishai, it's so good to be back on the show this week.
That's right. Thank you very much for being with us, Malka. We have a lot of important things that we have to show people. So I'm going to start getting some of these videos ready. And these are the videos of some of the new Trump appointees. Some of the new
Let's
Trump
see
appointees.
those guys.
Tell me, what are you excited about those guys? Who are you excited about?
You know,
And why?
Isha, it's so funny. This week I saw this hilarious video. It was of it was like a meme video, and it was like what it's been like to watch for Israelis to watch the Trump appointees come in over the last day. This was last week. And it was a video of sportscasters at some incredible soccer game. And they're like, yes, yes. And it was so funny. Here in Israel, the Trump appointees are just like fantasy football of pro-Israel, politically involved people in America. I just want to say that, there's really two aspects of seeing these appointees come in. One is the aspect here, this show is broadcast out of Israel. It's about Israel. And so you look at it through the lens of Israel, and it's like, how are these people relating to us? And it's overwhelmingly very positive. All the appointees that we've seen so far are very actively pro-Israel appointees, which is awesome. But then there's the other aspect, which is watching America go as it's teetering over the cliff of its national health, yank itself back and jump onto a white horse and run off into the sunset or something. Seeing America yank itself back into a place of sanity and positivity and patriotism and family values and a strong desire for its own stability and strength is just so nice. I don't know how else to say it. It's so refreshing, so nice. I'm very proud of Americans for pulling this off for themselves. And I think that this is going to be something which obviously will have loads of implications for across the world.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I also agree with you about it was nice to see the American system right itself. It was nice to see that democracy won. It was nice to see that human emotional health won out. It was nice to see that the bad guys haven't distorted our minds completely. It was really nice. Again, it's very important to stress this show in our life is about Israel and the strength of Israel and the God of Israel. When somebody's on our side, we're happy, we celebrate it, and it helps us move things forward. But it's not like we're not addicted here to the United States. This isn't the United States. We're speaking in English. We're speaking to the world. We are people who formerly lived in the United States. We have respect for it, but it's not the country that we're promoting here, and it's not the narrative that we're promoting. But when there are pro-Israel people who love Israel and they elect pro-Israel people and they help move the cause forward and it helps them stay as a moral and healthy and a country with a compass, then I can't help but say, thank Hashem, and let's use this time as much as we can. I want to tell you also, Malka, that for me, the Trump administration appointees, some of them are my friends, some of them are my colleagues. It's very exciting, but it also says to me, we have a lot of work to do now with these people. We have lot of work to do.
We haven't watched the videos yet, and so I feel like we're a little bit ahead of ourselves. But I will say that when we talk about watching these appointees come in, so again, it was it was really positive and really happy, and you can see just like the potential is like oozing over, and you're gonna see, I guess, in the videos that you probably brought up, Ishai, like as much backing as you could get from the foremost like leader in the world in terms of countries, the United States. Like, it's the most backing that we could really hope for, I think.
Right.
So like at the beginning, I don't know what it's going to turn into, but on the face of it. But then you turn back and look at yourself and you go, are we ready now? Like, we are being called upon to do our thing, to be Israel, to be the Israel that they want to empower.
Right.
And so then you're like, boy, I sure hope that we take on, as they call it, Ishai, Ol Malchut Shemaim, the
yoke of heaven.
Right? And you have this like wonderful, you taught me this wonderful visualization for the yoke of heaven. We are supposed to take upon ourselves every day, Ol Malchut Shemaim, the yoke of the kingdom of heaven. But what does it mean in your visualization? You said, maybe you should tell people, what's your visualization for Ol Malchut Shemaim?
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring it up. I didn't expect you to bring this up. This is kind of my
well,
my more like,
this is just like,
okay, no, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
In my more like rabbinic hat and my teaching hat, I sometimes think about visualizations. I actually use visualizations all the time. I just came up with a new one this Shabbat. But the visualization in that case is that you see a crown of God coming down from heaven, and it's first like a crown, and as it comes down, it turns into that same crown with its jewels, becomes like a yoke. And that yoke is something that you put on yourself. In order to bring God's crown into this world, we need a yoke. We don't wear the crown. We push ahead the carriage
like
of
the
God.
oxen.
We're the oxen. We're the workers. And the way to do it is to like, and if we want to bring God's crown to this world, we got to put on that yoke, and that yoke is actually a gift. That's right. It's a push, and that's a gift to us that we have an opportunity to do it. So I understand. I know what you're saying. That right now,
so it's like we look at these Trump appointees, and we have our own country going on over here. But here it's sort of like Hashem is saying to us, like, all those obstacles that have been in your way, we can just remove those. We can just take those off now. Are you ready to do Kiddush Hashem? Are you ready to do the things that I've asked you to do?
That's right.
The answer has to be yes now. The answer has to be yes now. And so that is intense. That is pressure. And that is something that you and I, Ishai, we try hard to affect. And so many great people out there here in the land of Israel try to affect. But do we have our finger on the red button? We certainly do not.
Let's take a look, Malka, this comment here. Americans voted anti the jihadi, woke, regressive, repressive, illiberal affiliation. The incoming regime needs to follow up. What does that mean? To follow
PW Bulletin. I think it's a list, maybe an email.
Okay. But the point is that there really has to be and there have been lists put out right now of what this administration should do. One of the big one, by the way, is the United Nations. That thing needs, some people like to say reformation, but I say no, it does not need reformation. It needs to be gutted at best case scenario, if not shut down totally. Yocheved, our producer, Yocheved, there's a guy on the chat right now who is using foul language over and over again. One foul language I could deal with, but but somebody using foul language to try to sour and dirty our broadcast is not going to be allowed. So if you could block somebody who calls himself Kent Eastwood.
Anyway, Ishai, while we're censoring people, why don't we hear some people? I'm so curious to hear some of the videos of some of these Trump appointees.
Well, let's go towards like the big one for Israel, and that is the U.S. ambassador to Israel, none other than Mike Huckabee. Let's see Governor Mike Huckabee, former governor
Yes, he's
of
going to be the
Arkansas,
U.S. ambassador to Israel.
former governor of Arkansas, Fox show host, whose daughter was the spokesman for the president and is now governor of Arkansas. Here he is a few years ago talking about Judea and Samaria.
Personally, and I'm speaking only as a person, I think Israel would only be acting on the property it already owns. I think Israel has title deed to Judea and Samaria. There are certain words I refuse to use. There is no such thing as a West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. There's no such thing as a settlement. They're communities, they're neighborhoods, they're cities. There's no such thing as an occupation.
That they get out of their minds that people are living in lean-tos and tents, and sleeping in cars, circled around a tree. They're living in very well-designed and beautiful cities and communities. Can't wait to get back. I'm going to take an extra hat. I'm going to get it to President-elect Trump. Build Israel great again. Who knows? We may see him wear this out there in one of his rallies somewhere. I don't know. Can't promise that. I can only promise he will get a copy of the hat. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was Mike Huckabee then. Let's hear him now, because he was just on Fox talking about his appointment.
Thank you. Now,
let me move it forward a little
the
bit.
Israeli people and commitment to the unbreakable bond between America and Israel. Than him, joining us with more, President Trump's nominee to be ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Governor, I agree with your daughter. I think she is a better governor and a lot smarter than me, so we both take second place. But in all seriousness, I look at Israel, the size of the state of New Jersey, and I look at them now battling a 4 or 5 front war between Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad in the north, you got Hamas out of Gaza in the south, you got the Houthi rebels, and you got ballistic missiles being fired directly from Iran that is, supplying all of this weaponry because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris allowed them to get rich by not enforcing sanctions. How quickly do you believe Donald Trump can impact that conflict in the Middle East?
Sean, I think he's impacting that conflict before he's even sworn in. You're seeing a scrambling all over the Middle East of countries suddenly trying to behave differently because they know a new sheriff has come to town, and this isn't a one-bullet Barney with a bullet in his shirt pocket.
That's 2 metaphors in a row, okay? New sheriff is in town, and it's not a one-bullet Barney. I have no idea what a one-bullet Barney is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're from Texas, Maka, so maybe
I would guess, but I'm scared to get it wrong. So keep going. Let's just
one bullet Barney. This is not a one bullet Barney. I tell you that much. But the other phrase I do know, which is there's a new sheriff in town, and we all know what that means.
This is the real deal. I mean, this is Donald Trump that they are afraid of, and I'm just ecstatic that he has asked me to be part of what I think is going to be not just a realignment of political parties and many institutions in America, but really the world, to bring peace that we desperately need. And quite frankly, when I look at all these people that he's picked, I'm incredibly impressed with all of them. I feel like that I'm a 1995 Ford pickup trying to enter the Indy 500. I don't see myself in the same view as I do some of these wonderful people he's picked, but I'm honored beyond even description to be able to serve my country and this president in a nation that I've been traveling to since July of 1973, when I was 17, made about 100 trips there, and I couldn't be more grateful to this president for giving me the opportunity to serve the country and him.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're going to work very closely with my friend Steve Witkoff. He was announced today as the special envoy to the Middle East. Like you, he knows the area well. I think, one of the more interesting picks will be Elise Stefanik. And I've never been a globalist. I find the UN to be historically virulently anti-Semitic and anti-American. I don't trust the WHO. We know they covered for China during COVID. I don't like the WEF. I never liked the Paris Accords. The Iranian deal is asinine, the worst deal ever made. So I would imagine if the Elise Stefanik that lectured the pro-Hamas professors before Congress, if that Elise Stefanik shows up at the United Nations, that's going to be a little bit of a shakeup. up, the likes of which maybe we haven't seen in our lifetime. That could be entertaining.
It'll be very entertaining, but more importantly, it's going to be a great revelation of what's wrong at the UN and why for many years I've never understood why we kept dumping money into it. I've often said get a jackhammer, hammer the thing right off and float it into the East River and invite any country who thinks they could enjoy it to have it. She's not going to be invited to a lot of after 5 cocktail parties in Manhattan where she'll be saluted by the swells. But that's not why she's going, and it's why she's going to be terrific in that position. She's bold, strong, unafraid, and will take nothing off of any of them. And we need to be bold. There's no reason that you have people like Iran and communist China on human rights committees talking about human rights when they violate them more than anybody. So it's time for a complete reset of our internal and international relationships. That's what Donald Trump is clearly setting out to do. And I couldn't be more delighted to see this take place.
Well, one thing that has to happen if the world ever wants to have real peace and safety and security, we can never allow the Iranian mullahs with their radicalism to get nuclear weapons, which they are desperately seeking. And they have got to be stopped. They are the #1 state sponsor of terror. I cut off their money, and if they keep firing missiles at Israel, it's time to take out their refineries, take out their nuclear sites, and the world will be a better and safer place, in my humble opinion. Congratulations, Governor. I guess I should say Ambassador. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Awesome clip there of Huckabee on Hannity. And I think he said something there that is very, very important, which is, Hannity said it, and it's true, which is what the Trump administration did the first time around is what's got to continue. And that is actually so simple. Cut off the funding. Cut off the funding. Cut off the funding to the Palestinian Authority. Cut off the funding to the United Nations. Cut off the funding to maybe Qatar that funds anti-America, anti-Israel, pro-jihad network called Al Jazeera. Like, take the money away. Oh, and of course, cut off Iran. The Obama, Biden, Harris folks, they fed the Iranian mullah regime to the tune of $250 billion, a lot of it in cash. So that has to stop. Just pull that money back. The UN sits in New York cursing Israel day in, day out, bringing nothing useful to this world. And it's funded, I think I heard 60% of the UN's funding is the United States. It might be even more. And it certainly sits in the United States, in New York, on great property. It's like, come on. So I hope that Stefanik doesn't come in there to reform the place. I think she's going to have to come in and really fight. Let's take a look at Stefanik, Maka. How does that sound?
Okay.
Do you want to see? All right, here, let's see what she's got to say. 1 second. Here we go.
Mr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual, at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. Do you understand your testimony is dehumanizing them? Do you understand that dehumanization is part of anti-Semitism? I will ask you one more time. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric.
And is it anti-Semitic rhetoric?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric, when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign. These are unacceptable answers across the board.
Okay, that was Stefanik, and she's going to be the U.S. ambassador to the UN, and she, of course, did that great shakeup that ended up in costing the president of Harvard's job. She left because of this stuff, right. and so powerful. She's a powerful fighter, and we're very excited to have her at the UN.
Right, a big enemy to anti-Semites. Speaking of anti-Semites, she's already called for the United States to defund UNRWA, which is like the king of anti-Semites in the United Nations. And so it's very promising.
One of the most exciting appointees is Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is an Army vet, Fox show host, and happens to be somebody who's my friend and somebody that I respect a lot and I spend time with. In fact, Yocheved, I actually didn't see in the folder the video that he did with me. If you could send me a link to that, I'll put that up. But in the meantime, here is Pete Hegseth talking about Israel in Israel at the King David Hotel.
Jennifer and I and others had a chance to go see the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, the Western Wall tunnels, so much of the old city. And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the miracle before you. And it got me thinking about another miracle that I hope all of you don't see too far away. Because 1917 was a miracle, 1948 was a miracle, 1967 was a miracle, 2017, the declaration of Jerusalem as the capital was a miracle, and there's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible.
What happened?
Did you hear that?
What was that? Let me just rewind that. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure I got that. Hold on
back.
a second.
Yeah.
This is the Secretary of Defense of the United States.
Of the United States of America.
Elect.
By the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would happen. You don't know how it would happen, but I know that it could happen.
He's the nominated
Right.
Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
Calling for the
and
Beit HaMikdash in Jerusalem.
He's like, well, why can't that happen? If the reestablishment of the Jewish state happened, why can't the reestablishment of the third temple? Okay.
This is what I'm talking about, though, Yishai. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is the moment where it's like Hashem is like, I literally am going to bring you all the way to the place where the Gentiles of the most powerful country in the world are going, how about that temple? Right? And then we're supposed to go, oh, absolutely. We're going to get right on that. Thank you for cooperating on that project. We're not supposed to go, I don't know, temple. Or we're not supposed to go when they're going to say things like, what about some sovereignty in Judea and Samaria? We're not supposed to go, well, we don't know if we can handle it. We don't know if we're ready to take responsibility for, all these people who are living under the Palestinian Authority. We're content with, maybe we should just take like a mini sovereignty over the Jordan Valley or something small, something symbolic, so we can pat ourselves on the back and go, oh, we accomplished something, extra during the Trump administration. We're at a place now where that stuff is like way not enough. We cannot be content with these little like Wikipedia footnote type successes. We are being asked to make a leap of progress in Israel as the world opens up to that progress. And it's like Israel's kind of looking to the United States for this permission, right? Even though we don't really need permission from anyone to do the things that we need to do. It's like the people in the realpolitik level are looking to the United States for like their thumbs up. But the United States and people like the U.S. Secretary of Defense of the United States of America
nominated
us to do our thing now.
Right.
They are looking to us. We are not looking to them. They are looking to us. And if we disappoint them, it will be a fail for the generations, God forbid. And so Now is our time to make sure that we make a win for the generations, for 2,000 years of generations. It's time for us to take on the responsibility that we have been dreaming to take on. And like we said before, Yishai, put on that yoke and push.
I have a slogan about that. This is one of the Yishai slogans, which is go big and go home.
Right.
Go big. And that's what you're really saying. What you're really saying right now is it's time to go big. This is a moment to go big. It's just not a moment to get small gains and to think that, like, okay, if I could get the small gain, then good for me. You know, the world is complex. The situation is complex. There's a lot of balances. This is not that kind of moment. This is not that kind of moment. You're right. You're right, Malka. And Jews, a lot of times we've got this modus, which is, I call it Yaakov. You know, it's like, I'm a Jew. I'm in a court. I'm the Jew in a foreign court, and I got to navigate the many powers and things. But you have to transition between Yaakov and Israel and Israel. And when you're in the land of Israel and reconstituted in your land, you got to be big. You got to go home and go big. Go big and go home.
Right. And that is the ethos today. Here in Israel, I have to say that we have made major leaps and bounds in our sense of possibility and bravery over the last year. This war has been brutal. Let's just be honest. It's been brutal. I have here the names of 3 soldiers who were killed in the last day. Idan Kenan, 21, from Ramat Gan. Yogev Pazi, 22, from Givot Bar. Noam Eitan, 21, from Hadera. Okay, we have paid in blood, literally, but the country, its mindset has expanded. I can't say that the leadership necessarily has totally followed suit, but that is the atmosphere. And in the United States, I have to say, that's how it seems too. The people of the United States got up and they put tied their shoes and they burst out the door and they went to vote for like a totally different future for their country. Their country was headed in one direction and they yanked it all the way to the other direction. It's possible to do. And now you have this person in the United States who's ready to think radically. He has Elon Musk working for him. He has Vivek Ramaswamy working for him. He has RFK Jr. working for him. He has like all these like big brain people, these people who think outside the box. And we got to get out of the box for this moment in history. We got to open our minds and roll up our sleeves and get bold and get brave and get proud and get excited and get determined and get fearless and get going.
First thing, I want to remind folks that you can join the chats by super chatting, and that helps us show and helps us keep broadcasting. Here's Joe Seidman says, thank you, Malka Nisha, for keeping us connected and sharing your positive energy. Good. Thank you very much. And you can also share your positive energy at super chats. Really appreciate it. Let's finish up with the Pete Hegseth, because it's just a short, but we got a little stuck when he said that we should be able to build a third temple. Let's keep going with that.
That's all I know. And a step in that process, a step in every process, is the recognition that facts and activities on the ground truly matter. And that's why going and visiting Judea and Samaria, understanding that sovereignty, the very sovereignty of Israeli soil, and Israeli cities, locations, is a critical next step to showing the world that this is the land for Jews and the land of Israel. And I believe, as was mentioned, he said you need to, what was mentioned is you need to buy the ticket. Don't just wish for 40 years to win the lottery, buy the ticket. I would submit to you, in light of the support you have in Washington, D.C., the support you have amongst patriotic Americans, amongst evangelical Christians, amongst believers, amongst Republicans, even amongst some Democrats who can barely say it anymore in Washington, buy the ticket, take your action, do what needs to be done here in Israel, because I truly believe this is a moment where America will have your back. You have Donald Trump in the White House, you have Mike Pence as vice president, you have Nikki Haley at the UN, You have true believers in Israel and America that have your back.
All right, so that was the incoming elect nominated
Secretary of Defense for the
Secretary
United
of
States.
Defense. My good, my friend, really somebody I'm very, very proud to know, Pete Hegseth. And there are other videos that I want to show you today, Malka, of other folks that are part of the story. There is, of course, Rubio, right?
The Secretary of State. That's a influential person.
Secretary of State Rubio. I mean, good for him. Senator for so many years and now going to be Secretary of State. That's amazing. Let's take a look at his answers
How does he feel about
Israel. Yeah.
Rubio, will you call for ceasefire?
No, I will not.
Gaza?
On the
Senator
contrary.
Rubio,
Are you filming it?
Wait,
So I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. So Hamas should stop building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's horrifying. I think it's terrible, and I think Hamas is 100% to blame. That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please.
So here we are outside the office of Senator Marco Rubio, who we ran into in the halls of Congress, and he had called us Hamas.
Wait. Notice the flags outside. He's senator from Florida. That's his flags outside of his senatorial office. Check that out. And here's the same lady. Look at this. Like B. Goliath writes, same coat pink woman from the first video that we showed today. This lady is like a one woman. Yeah, but she's also, that's who it is. That's the whole thing. That's all it is. It's this one lady. And I think we got that clear, what Marco Rubio is willing to say. And it's so great when they try to trap you and you go, yeah, like get this on video. I love that. That's great. That's really, really great. Who else do we have, Malka? So, I mean, first thing, Marco Rubio, congratulations to you. Senator from Florida, now going to be Secretary of State. That's a big, that's a big jump. That's good for you. That's a lot. Oh, by the way, I think I found a video that was sent to me. I think this is me dancing with Mike Huckabee. Let's see if we can find it. There it is. This is the way the video was sent with me. This is you see, there's a guy dressed up as Jeremiah. There's
Mike's not used to that manly circle dancing.
Right. That's right. He's not used to the Jewish circle dancing, but that did happen many years ago. Let's see what else, what other videos I have. I think I have one more, maybe, Malka. Let's see. What else do I have for you? Huckabee, we did Pete Hegseth, we did Rubio, we did Stefanik. Oh, just one more. Here we go. What is Vivek's job going to be, Vivek Ramaswamy? What is his job going to be?
He is doing the Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk.
West Bank and so-called, the occupied territories, what your opinion would be on settlements.
I think that these are decisions of self-determination for Israel to make. So I think it's really important for us not to wear the hat, to just offer some sort of monarchical judgment about what Israel should or shouldn't do.
It's easy to tell other people how to live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If this was a conversation between me and Bibi and we're talking amongst friends and he's asking for my opinion, I would offer it. But that would be the context in which I offer that opinion. It's interesting to make an observation that for the hundreds of millions of sons of Abraham by way of Ishmael, you have 27 different states.
Yeah.
For the sons of Abraham by way of Isaac, you have one.
Right.
And that state has a right to exist. So if the rest of the Arab world does have a real care about the Palestinian people, their actions certainly do not match their words.
Right.
So as a friend, it is my view to you. You have the latitude to do what you need to do to preserve Israel's national boundaries and national right to exist. You have the right and the obligation to do it. And our job as a partner is to make sure that the UN or the US or the EU or nobody else gets in your way.
Okay, so we laid out really a lot of people. Not everybody in that. There's also Elon Musk, who is known to be Prime Minister Netanyahu's friend, has been on shows with him together, has been on stage with him together. So there's really a lot of good people. And just so you understand, I want to make sure that if you just joined right now, you understand this does not mean that we could just sit back and everything's taken care of, and we don't have to do anything. It's quite the opposite. It means
The
there's a
exact
time
opposite.
Right. It means it's a time of opportunity, and we have to work. There's a lot of good people in this new administration, and we've got to work to utilize it as best as possible and to move the ball forward. And like you said before, Malka, not to move it just a little bit and just to kind of get away with some stuff, to make it big. And how do we move it forward? I think there's a magic word that I very rarely hear. I hear all kinds of words, from the word occupation to the word peace. There is one word that I think is the word of health. That word is clarity. We have to deal with clarity. Clarity means Israel has clarity on what its borders are. It means that the enemies of Israel will know with clarity what we will do if they mess with us. Clarity means that Arabs that want to live in Israel, that are pro-Israel, non-jihadist Arabs, understand what their rights are, what their obligations are. It means that there's no weird deals for different kinds of people, that there is clarity. Somebody just wrote, is it peace through clarity? Second. Is it peace through clarity? It's strength through clarity, and strength leads to peace. Okay, clarity means that we don't, for example, and this Ambassador David Friedman told me very correctly, he said to me, Ishai, Israel is over 70 years old, and it's not clear what its borders are. Stephen says the magic word is normalization. Well, that's not the point that I'm getting through yet right now. And Mr. Cheddar says peace through strength. But guys, just give me a second here to put out a different word here. And that word is that Israel's got to be clear about what its land is, what its borders are, how it will treat the non-Jews that live in this land, the minorities that live in this land. Clarity means that people understand our goal. I'll give you an example. Gaza. Has there been clarity about what Israel intends to do in Gaza? No. It has not said very clearly.
Well, there's defeat Hamas. That is one of the goals.
Right. Okay. So that is a,
and bring back the hostages. Those
right.
are the goals that have been stated. Exactly.
Those are tactical, short-term goals. But how do you intend to control that land? Who is going to be the sovereign? What are going to be the rights of the peoples living there? That's a strategic vision for the future. That basically, what do you want? How do you see the end game? And that is exactly what needs to be clarified, needs to be spoken with clarity. People don't understand what Israel intends to do because it hasn't said it exactly. You want to beat these bad guys, but who's going to rule? These bad guys have been the ones ruling Gaza. So who's going to be ruling? So when you speak with clarity, people start to understand what you want. And they start to come around because what you're talking about makes sense. It's common sense. It's healthy. It's Middle Eastern. It's religious. It's all the things that the Middle East is. And so, or I'll give you another example, which is the Temple Mount. Like, well, which one is it? Is it what Pete Hegseth said? Do we want a third temple, or do we want to accommodate the Muslim structure up there? Well, speak in clarity. Say what you really want. Say what you really want. Do you want to? There are still Jews in Israel and America that want a two-state solution. Do we want that, or do we want sovereignty? So it's one or the other. It has to be spoken of in clarity and in decisiveness. And when you have that decisiveness and the clarity, people start to come around to your consciousness and they understand it. And all the players start to understand what you want. And that is something that's very lacking. So let's pray to God for a little bit of, not a little bit, but a lot of bit of clarity. And I think, Malka, that what you were saying before is no way that you're going to bond with the Trump administration on a robust policy if you don't have clarity. You need clarity. You need clarity. And our friend Alana says, one state. Sure, absolutely, one state. But say where that state is going to be. What are the rules for the people inside the state? There's literally no constitution for the state of Israel, even if you want to say the Torah is the constitution, but be like, okay, declare that, whatever you want. but just speak with a type of clarity so people can understand exactly what you're willing to do. For example, I heard the Jordanian foreign minister, and he's like, well, Israel's a failure. It wanted to be a secular state and all kinds of things, but it's not a secular state anymore. That's what I'm saying. We need to have, for example, is this the Jewish state? Is it a national state that favors Jewish people? Well, yes. But then it has these other values that it says, well, you know, do you want total equality for minorities? Well, you have to speak it out and make it clear for people. And if you do that, and people, I find, and when I give speeches, people they're like, I don't know if I like you or what you're saying, but you're speaking to me in clarity. You're giving me a total vision.
Isha,
Right.
I don't know if it's pushed back or so much as discuss out this concept of clarity, because it's not like we have a prime minister that's like a bumbling fool, and if only he would say clearly what he means, then this would all be so much better. It's like the Jews have a plan, but we don't know, all the rest of us, we don't know what it is. The clarity is not something that we have to speak out. The clarity is something that we have to have inside. And that's the major problem. The major problem is that the Jewish people,
I think that's what I meant. Meaning,
have not gotten together on what their goals are.
Right. That is what I meant.
Not the war goals. It's like the Jewish.
Yeah. What do you like? Okay.
Endgame.
For let's take a simple one. Let's take a really simple one. Look, it's so simple, and yet, like when you say it, people's heads pop off. Do we have a goal of resettling Gaza? Well, I think that we have a goal of a military control, and then a civilian resettlement plan with Arab minorities that are pro-Israel continuing to live there as residents of Israel. I know what the status of who I accept as residents. I know that I want Israel to that Gaza is part of the Israeli map. I am willing to govern other peoples, and I think we can do that. And I think that Gaza should be Israel militarily and civilly
because
it's our land, and because that will
Gaza
bring security.
is the land of Israel, and
Because
the land of Israel
Gaza is the
belongs
land of
to
Israel.
Jewish people.
That's
It's
right.
like once you can say the most basic stuff, then you can come up with the plan on how to carry that out, how to
That's
make it so that worked.
That's right.
We need to be able to say the first sentence, which is Gaza is the land of Israel, and the land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people. And now here's our plan for making it so that this is the kind of country we want, understanding that value.
Okay, so this brings me to yet another fun video that I found. Actually, I didn't find it, but our daughter Leah found it, and she sent this to me. And one second, let me just check the chats here for a second. Okay, let's play this video. This is Malka. This is a beautiful video. Recently, there was a big event of Indigenous peoples. I didn't make it to the event. Sadly, I had a conflict. But Arutz Sheva Israel National News and my friend Yoni Kempinski did cover this event, and they spoke to Indigenous folks, First Nations, American Indians. I want to get the nomenclature right here, but the bottom line is they verbalized why they care so much about Israel, why it's important to them. Let's take a look.
Our tribes are Zionist tribes. We are pro-Israel. We love Israel. We support you as the indigenous people, the Jewish people, as the indigenous people of Israel.
You mentioned indigenous, and basically that's one of the things that you're trying to remind people here. The connection between the rights that the Jews have to their land and the rights that Native Americans claim to their lands.
Absolutely. Well, one, we share a very common history. While things have been really bad for Native people, for over 500 years, it's been worse for the Jewish people for thousands. And we are all indigenous to somewhere. And there's only one place that the indigenous people of Judea are indigenous to the Jewish people, and that's Judea, Israel. So as First Nations people, we see your story as a story of hope.
And a story of healing. You have, through the resilience of your people, been an inspiration. You love life. You have recovered from generations of trauma, and you're an example to our people that we can still embrace and love life and grasp for healing through the trauma and through the problems and the difficulties that life brings.
Now, you yourself have Jewish ancestors, but how do others who don't, but are part of your community, how do they relate to Jews, Judaism?
Well, there's a very first contact between my tribe and the Jewish people were the Sephardim that were fleeing Spain in 1492. And they landed on my island in 1493 of Boriken. And many of the Sephardim actually fought with us in the first Indian wars against colonization and against the Spanish. And so as a result, many of us carry the DNA of the Sephardim that came to our lands. And how does that affect us today? One of the things that we're trying to do is to remind people of that legacy of our indigenous ancestors and that connection with the Sephardim who fought with us.
I think it's important to note that Joseph did not know until just a few years ago that he even had Sephardic blood. He's been very pro-Israel for a long time, but it was only when his father passed away that he inherited books from the family, and then ended up finding out that they were B'nai and Usim. And so, but your question about others who don't have Jewish blood, I don't have Jewish blood that I know of, but the community split. There are many people who are pro-Israel, many who don't understand or know a lot about the history of the Middle East, and then there are some who have been duped by the pro-Palestinian narratives of comparing Native people here in the U.S. to the Arabs and the Palestinians in Israel. So unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of lack of education because we have a lot of problems at home ourselves. And so but we can learn from you. And that's why I want our people, to know the beauty of your indigeneity and your resilience through everything.
I love this video, Malka, right? It's a beautiful video, right? By the way, just one correction about that. That was actually not from the Indigenous Conference. That was actually from IAC, and Yoni Kempinski filmed it. I love that. I love that video. And in that video, there's the tension between the truth, which is that Jewish people are indigenous to the land of Israel and are resettling it, and the tension between what the lady said at the end there, which is that the so-called Palestinian narrative has done an amazing job of painting Israelis and Jews as foreigners in the Middle East, as white colonialist interlopers, as opposed to what we really are, but have managed to market that, especially to young people, and especially through the use of social media, to really brand Israel as an occupier, apartheidist, white colonialist. That has been the greatest media success, the blood libel, the modern blood libel. And she says, listen, within the American Indian or First Nations communities, there's a split, because some of us are like, we identify with the Jews. The Jews have gone back to their lands, and the Spirit and God has given them their lands back, and all that kind of stuff, like beautiful synergy between those ideas. And the other ones that are like, no, Israel is the white man, a colonialist who's kicked the indigenous Palestinians off the land. And there's a real tension there. There's a real tension there.
That's all over the world, Ishai. That's all over the world. You know, we saw just now in Amsterdam, the divide, the tension between the pro-Israel world and the anti-Israel world. And it's not even really the pro-Israel world and the anti-Israel world. It's more like the pro-Jewish world and the anti-Jewish world, or the people of the Bible world versus the anti-people of the Bible world. And so, I'm not particularly plussed. I'm non-plussed by the fact that the First Nations are encountering this divergence of opinion, and may God bless them to see truth and go with God.
But it is a good video, right, Malka?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a great lady.
It's beautiful,
A
and
great
it's
great
and it's
couple.
right. And you know, here here in Israel, there's always this duality that on the one hand we see ourselves, or really we understand that our role is to be like spiritual leaders in the world, and yet when you see people from around the world who so adhere themselves to the story of the Jewish people and so believe in it and look to it, you can't help but also be very bolstered and very encouraged and fortified by that spirit and by that encouragement. And it's cyclical. It's our job to bless you out there and to encourage you and to help you, and we also receive from you the encouragement and the strengthening and the sense of backing and friendship that you share with us. So it's a beautiful relationship.
1000%. I like what you're saying very much. It's true. Let's actually give people a few opportunities to do that. First thing is that I get a lot of emails of people asking me how to support Israel. And I have my own organizations that I work with, but people have been asking me recently a lot about how to help the families of fallen soldiers. And we have so many of them, sadly. The best organization that I know personally for that is Kolel Chabad. Okay, Kolel Chabad. And I'll just let me bring that up because I think that they do a great job. I know that they do a great job. I have seen it myself. That they do a great job helping families of fallen soldiers. How do I know? Because I work for Kolel Chabad sometimes, and that's what they do. They help widows and orphans. Okay, so they have a whole project of helping widows and orphans, and I'm a big lover of Chabad and of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. But this particular organization was an organization that was founded by the first Lubavitcher Rebbe 250 years ago, and it continues to do a lot for orphans and widows. And the Bible tells us to take care of the orphans and widows, especially now. So that's very important. Another organization which I think helps soldiers is the Ari Fold organization, the Ari Fold project. The Ari Fold project, and I will just get that up. And I work with them also. I'm the MC for their event. I MC for these events, and I MC for these events. But I'm a big believer. Well, thanks, Malka. I appreciate that. I think the Ari Fold project, they do great work at supporting the soldiers that are actually fighting. Let's take a look at what they do over there. I'm bringing it up. That's arifold.org. Ari Fold was a great hero, a narrative warrior, a physical warrior, and they do a lot to help the army units continue to fight. So they do great work. So you have one organization that helps army soldiers where they are in the army now, and the other one helps the families, the widows, and the orphans. So that's very powerful stuff. Another way to help is, of course, to continue to help what we do. And one way to do it is to just do super chats here. That helps us a lot. And another way to do it is just to like this live stream and share it with your friends. So if you didn't like it, please just hit like on it and share it around. And subscribe to our channels because we're putting out a lot of content. We're putting in a lot of effort all the time for that. And a way to support this show and what we're doing here is buymeacoffee.com/Yishai, which is just an awesome way to make sure that we keep broadcasting every week. And the more I broadcast, the more I realize we got to keep broadcasting. And so I used to have a simple slogan, which was broadcast Israel. and we have to broadcast the truth because there's so many broadcasts of lies. Happens to be that also this Shabbat is a very special Shabbat at where I work, which is the Jewish community of Hebron. And this weekend, this Shabbat, is when we read chapter 23 of the book of Genesis about the purchase of the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs by Abraham in order to bury his beloved wife Sarah. If you go to YouTube and type in secrets of the Machpelah, then comes up something amazing. I'm going to share this page also, Malka, so that everybody can enjoy that and see it. This is your homework for this week, okay, is to click here on Secrets of the Tomb of the Patriarchs in Hebron, Secrets of the Machpelah.
You can do nothing. With the fathers and the mothers together, they can create a nation, they can create a future, create mankind. This is what they did.
With my brother about this amazing place, the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs, the mamas and the papas. And you could see the whole video. Look at that beautiful shot. Okay, Noam, we have made it back down to the Ma'arat Machpelah itself, to this monumental tomb structure. This video has 177,000 views, and I highly recommend that you check it out and that you check out hebronfund.org, which is the Jewish community of Hebron, which is this brave community that keeps it open for all of us. Okay.
It's so exciting, Yishai. You know, last year, because of the war and security concerns, they closed down the whole Chaye Sarah Shabbat. And usually what happens is that literally tens of thousands of people come. They swarm on Kiryat Arba and on Hebron. They come in their tents, in their cars, in their RVs. They sleep on the floor. They sleep on park benches. They sleep on living room floors or completely covered with like thin mattresses for guests. And people just smush themselves in as much as possible into Hebron so that they can make pilgrimage to that city on the anniversary, sort of the anniversary, the day that the Torah commemorates and remembers the purchase of Hebron, the first purchase of land by a Jew in the land of Israel. And it was purchased for our grandmother, Sarah. So people come and they come to say hi to her. And to Abraham Avinu, to our father Abraham, and of course Isaac and Rebecca, and Jacob and Leah, Rachel, who had her yard site also this last week. Her burial site is in Bethlehem, Beit Lechem, so that's a little bit different location. But everyone comes to say hi to the grandparents and to come to Ma'arat Machpelah, which was purchased in this week's Torah portion.
Okay, Malka, and we have a comment from Ibrahim Bishara. Who says, Shalom from WB. Does he mean Warner Brothers? Or does he mean from West Bank? I don't know. And he writes, Jews should absolutely be able to live in Hebron. You've been first 4,000 years ago and made to leave in the 30s, only get to return in 1967. So Ibrahim, not only that, Ibrahim also is a super chatter. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's very nice of you. And thank you very much for recognizing Jewish indigeneity in Hebron. Hebron is really the root of Jewish indigeneity. Appreciate that. And Michael, given support to the show and 3 hearts.
A bunch of blue hearts. Thank you.
Clearly.
Hearts back to you.
That's right. Clearly also the 3 hearts represent Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or Abraham and Sarah, Isaac, Rebecca, Jacob, and Leah. That's awesome. So thank you very much for that. And we also have Dice Plexus C says, thanks for the video yesterday. Opened my eyes. What video is he talking about? I'm going to
one from yesterday, and you're welcome.
No, I know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about the very important video that I showed yesterday about the Arabs down in Gaza and what they're actually saying. And I can find a short version here, which I think is very important to show. Ooh, where is that video? Here it is. Hold on one second. I have a 48-second version, Malk, okay, of
Okay.
like what I showed in an hour. And then we made a second video of a half an hour. I can condense that video to 45 seconds, Malka. And this
All right,
is
let's
what
see it.
Dice Places. Okay, here we go. 1 second. Let me show you this video. This is one of the most important videos. Hold on. Here we go. Not easy to always get that. Here we go. 48 seconds will change your understanding of the narrative of what. Here's what Gazan Arabs are telling the microphone when they get a chance.
والله لا أشوف حماس لا أقتله. والله فرحت لما قتلتوا السنوار اللي دمر وقتل أطفالنا. والله العظيم زغرتت. والله العظيم زغرتت. الحمد لله إن شاء الله بتمحوهم. إن شاء الله بتمحوهم. ضلكوا وراهم لغاية ما تقتلوهم. سيبنا بيوتنا دمروها عروسهم. يا ربي تلقاهم القصر 15 من اليهود. اليهود أحسن. الله ونعم الوكيل. هذه النكبة. الله يكتبهم. الله ما يحكم معهم. يا رب يقتلوهم اليهود. يا اليهود أحسن منهم. اليهود بعطونا أكل. بعطونا الدنيا. وبيعملوا الدنيا. وبعطونا الطريق بأمنه. وايش يفضح عرضهم اليهود الحماس. حرام عليك.
Unbelievable video that, and the longer version of that is on Yishai Fleischer TV. But that video just goes to show you that so many Gazans are sick and tired of the jihadism and corruption of Hamas, and they say Jews destroy them. And if you watch the longer video, it's clear that what Gazan Arabs want is Israeli sovereignty, Israeli rule, Israeli governance in Gaza, and what they want is residency in the land of Israel. So this commentator says, comment says, I cried over that video and mentioned them in my prayers afterwards. God bless you for sharing that. And that was a very important video, and people were really blown away.
And I just want to insert here, Isha, if it's okay,
sure.
that it is heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
It is heartbreaking. It's so easy for people outside of this conflict to think that Israelis are just indiscriminately smashing everything and they don't care about human life. They don't care about anybody. I have to tell you that even as we fight a war that feels completely just and necessary, when you see human beings who don't want the evil monsters that are literally called terrorism, Hamas, which literally means like terror and violence in Hebrew, even in the Bible, that's what it means. And you see that we have allowed them to come under this reign of tyranny. You feel bad, right? You feel horrible for them. And the fact that you cried over them, that our commenter over here cried over these people, yeah, you're not the only one who cried over them. Like it's war is miserable. It's an unfortunate situation. You know what I'm saying? But it must happen. And the fact that you have these very people who are living with this war very much coming to say, Jewish people keep going, fight the Hamas, raise it to the ground, should be all the encouragement that we need. If we can't get enough encouragement from the fact that we need to do it for us, which should be obvious. But if that's not enough, if we live with this profound guilt complex that keeps us from doing what's good for ourselves, then at least we can look at what's good for other people. And they're telling you they don't want to live with these monsters anymore. Let's help them out.
You know, last week's podcast that I put out, I called it Liberation Nation. And some people disagreed with me. You know, they said, Isha, we got to protect ourselves. We're not here to liberate other peoples. But it turns out that when Israel is strong and it subdues the jihad, it naturally becomes the liberation nation. Obviously, we're a liberation nation because of the splitting of the Red Sea and our exodus from Egypt. We remember our slavery and our liberation every single day. God's liberation of the Jewish people. But I think that there is an element of the Jewish people that's supposed to be helping liberate others. We got a message from Ethiopia.
Especially on our land.
We got a message from Ethiopia from I cannot
You're
read
not
Ethiopian
sure.
script. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It says, "We love you from Ethiopia. God bless you. Thank you so much." And of
Thank
course,
you
we have
so
a lot
much.
of Ethiopian Jews and a lot of shared history with Ethiopia. Very special. So thank you very much for that.
Speaking of liberating, Yishai, I just want to take a moment to send our support and encouragement out to the people of Iran tonight.
That's right.
We are not natural enemies of the Iranian people, but we sure as heck fire are enemies of these mullahs, and that is a mutual enemy.
That's right.
And I really want to say, like, the women of Israel stand with the women of Iran, and the people of Israel support the people of Iran. And I really think that this is a moment, Yishai. Speaking of taking responsibility, you know, we've talked about this a few times over the course of this show tonight. Taking responsibility on our land. And this is really an opportunity that we could really assist this planet and good people on it in wiping out some of the tyranny. I guess that word keeps coming back. Here you have these Iranian mullahs that are only bad for everyone. They're for sure bad in the Middle East. They're horrific for Israel, but they're terrible for their own people. This is an opportunity. If we had a little bit of guts, this would be our opportunity to say, you know what? We're just going to help everybody.
That's
We'll
right.
help us, and we'll help you.
You know, there were some Russian weapons that were captured from Hamas and Hezbollah, and a Knesset member, who shall remain nameless, suggested that we send over some of those weapons to Ukraine. And one of my friends was like, "Isn't that a great idea?" And I'm like, "That is not a good idea. We should not get involved in Slavic wars. It's not our business. And they've got their long-standing issues." I said, "But it would be nice to send those weapons to the Kurds. If we sent those weapons to the Kurds would fight the bad Syria, the bad part of Turkey, and the bad part of Iran for their independence. And so they would be fighting our enemies. We should be supporting the Kurds. I don't know anything about Ukraine and Russia. That's out of my business. But the Kurds, who are Muslims and who are regional actors and who fight all of our enemies and who have historically been good to us, the Kurdish people, I think it would be awesome to send them those weapons. By the way, Ibrahim writes, "I live in New Zealand now, but I mean it, Yishai. I hope we can live in coexistence. I love your channel. Keep it up." Thank you very much, Ibrahim. And I want to also, Ibrahim, I want to wish you a blessing this week when we read about Ibrahim, and he was buried by Isaac and Ishmael at the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs in Hebron. Very special place that actually brings the children of Abraham together.
That's right.
Malka,
Do you have any more super chats, Yishai?
they're coming, but in the meantime, before they do, I do have another video to show you. Special video here, as all videos on our channel is. Check out just a few minutes of myself with Pete Hegseth in Hebron at a special that he made called Battle for the Bible, or the Battle of the Bible, or Bible Battling for the Bible. I don't remember exactly, but here's me and Pete Hegseth and the Fox special on Hebron.
Israelis in Hebron see things much differently. Yishai Fleischer is the international spokesman for the Jewish community of Hebron.
We are on the one Jewish street that the Jews have. We basically live in 3% of this town. Jewish people always existed here. At times we were an ethnic majority. Today we're an ethnic minority. We exist on one defended street.
One defended street.
We have this one about 2 kilometer long street that we live on. Not alone. There's plenty of Arabs that live here. Now sadly, their stores have been closed because they were using those storefronts as a way to terrorize the Jews. So the IDF, the Israeli army, decided we can't protect you like this. We have to shut down these stores, and we have to move them to the part of town that is wealthy, where the real Arab commerce happens. That does not mean that Arabs don't live here.
What do you say to those who say, no, the idea of shutting down storefronts is to harass? Ultimately, this is all about pushing Palestinians out of the old city of Hebron,
and has nothing to do with security. Sometimes we have to take measures that aren't beautiful. I wish it wasn't like this. I wish that Arabs and Jews who are cousins, genetically very similar, similar language, similar religion, could live together. I wish, but right now there's a jihadist attitude, and we have to defend ourselves.
When you talk to the Palestinians, they don't talk about jihad. They say the whole point is to push them out so that Jews can take over the land that they once had.
First thing, this town is 20 square kilometers, 200,000 Arabs. We respect them. They're our cousins. They have to respect us. We have every right to live in this town. We defend that. And the claims that we have somehow erased Arab life here and don't let Arabs walk around here and all that kind of stuff, that's all intended to delegitimize our rights here.
Like nearly every other dispute in this region, it centers around control of a revered holy site.
Here's the important thing, right there. You see what looks like a mosque with those two minarets?
Yep.
That is the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs. That is what this place is all about.
Mentioned over 80 times in the Bible, Hebron is inseparably linked to the tomb, also known as the Cave of Machpelah, which Abraham purchased as a family burial plot. It is the most ancient site in Judaism and the second holiest site after the Temple Mount. Following centuries of subsequent invasions and conquests by Crusaders, Muslims, and Jews, the structure has variously been a Christian church, a mosque, and a Jewish temple, several times over. Since the Islamic conquest of Hebron in the 7th century, the complex was a place of worship for Muslims, known as the Ibrahimi Mosque. For 7 centuries, only Muslims were allowed to pray inside. Like everything else in Hebron, depending on who you are and where you are, it's not always easy to get to.
We're in the middle of Hebron, the center of Hebron, and we're at a checkpoint, which is quite interesting as we're approaching what the Palestinians call the Al-Ibrahimi Mosque, Jews call the Tomb of the Patriarchs. Right above me, and we've been instructed by Israeli soldiers not to point the camera up there, is an Israeli IDF checkpoint. So they're overseeing this particular location. There's 3 or 4 Israeli soldiers overwatching this position because the Tomb of the Patriarchs is under Israeli control. So if I were to try to go through this checkpoint, I can't do it. I can't go through. So at every corner, at every turn here in Hebron, just like in certain places.
Okay, so so it keeps going, of course, and it's the complex picture that is the Hebron, the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs. By the way, speaking of clarity, there's a town that could use a little bit more clarity. By the way, the show is called Battle in the Holy Land, season 3, episode 1. Very, very cool. Very cool. Okay, Malka. So we've seen a lot of videos. We've seen today, a lot of hope. And at the same time, there are soldiers that have fallen, and quite a few this week. And in our house, a memorial candle is consistently and constantly lit in their honor, in their memory. And it's not, it's a time of revelation, but it's a time that revelation comes with also great sacrifice. And so let's pray let's pray for the soldiers. Let's pray for their families. Let's pray for their souls. Let's pray for the safety of the soldiers that are out there fighting right now on the front lines and keeping us safe. And let's pray for all the people out there that are praying for us and that want to see Israel strong. So thank you very much to all those folks. And thank you very much to those soldiers. And may Hashem continue to protect you and all those who have fallen. Our hearts, we cry for you. We remember your names. And we pray for your families, and we know that you're in a better place, and we honor your amazing sacrifice to protect our peoplehood. And we call on our government. Be careful with our flowers. Be careful with our children. Be sure that we are wiping out the enemy wisely and that we're not taking unnecessary risks. Let the artillery, let the engineer corps and the D9s and the Air Force do more of that work. Let's not put our children into those houses and endanger their lives. Every one of those that has fallen is going to be an accounting for you. So be careful. It's an accounting for our society as well. And so we got to make sure that the enemy is destroyed, but we got to make sure that our children are protected, even though they're willing to put their life on the line for the state. But don't take that frivolously. That self-sacrifice. make sure that that's minimized, make sure that the enemy is the one who's suffering, not our people. I hope I made that clear. I want to thank all the folks out there, Maka. We got folks from, I guess, Finland. Is that right? And that's right, in Copenhagen. Thank you very much. And the folks from Sweden and from Bangladesh, ex-Muslim, and from Turkey. And where else from? And Hindus. Thank you very much. And Milan, Italy. And from the Netherlands. Okay, we got to work on a better situation there. And from Uruguay. And from what? Havas Israel. It's a mitzvah. From Montreux.
Is that Canada?
Macronistan.
No,
I guess so.
Macronistan. Oh, I think that's France.
France, okay.
Yes.
From the UK, all right. From the UK, we get blessings as well. Where else are we getting blessings from? From India. I got to make it out there to India soon. Look, it's the Prime Minister himself. Well, put that back. Oh, my God. That was the Prime Minister. Modi. Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm honored that you're watching my show. This is a weird one. Long live the secular Jewish democratic state of Israel. And this is love from Turkey. Now, I understand what's happening here. This is somebody who wants the Ataturkian version of Turkey instead of the Islamic version of Turkey, and likes that Israel was originally meant to be that way. I get that. And by the way, Ben-Gurion and others studied in Turkey in that very period where the Ataturkian vision of Turkey was dominant. The good news is the liberal values of Israel will never go away, but we're moving away from just secular. What you mean by secular is that it has free choice. People will continue to have free choice even if Israel becomes more observant and more connected to its biblical roots and its godly roots. So thank you very much, King of Barons. Anybody else? Taiwan cannot be happier because China won't invade now with Trump on the white horse. You're still going to have to keep yourself defended, Taiwan. And Israel should be more supportive of Taiwan. We have a lot of similarities with Taiwan. Yishai, we love you in South Africa. I'm huge in South Africa. Shalom. God bless you. Thank you very much. As a Syriac Christian, I like the phrase, Am Yisrael Chai. Awesome. I love that. Okay. God bless the Syriacs. God bless you guys out there. And there's a lot of folks out there. Hello from Wales. That's awesome. And I know some good pro-Israel Welsh folks that I met through Bridges for Peace. So a lot of good folks there. Love from Sweden. And we love you guys in Sweden. We have not far away from here, Malka, we have a great IKEA. Am I right? What? And well, the Swedish food, it's awesome. Sweden is awesome.
I like that cake.
We got a lot of friends today from Scandinavia. You know what the truth is? I want to say the truth. I have never been to Scandinavia, and I have always been interested. I've always been interested to get to Scandinavia, and I hope I get there one day. Avalon, I live an hour east of Toronto. Okay, God bless you from Canada. Okay, very good. So anyway, that's all the folks out there that are saying shalom to us, and therefore we are blessing you back. This awesome technology gives us an opportunity to receive your blessings from around the world and sending it back. We are actually sanctifying this technology through what we're doing right now, which is we're fulfilling biblical prophecy. I just want you to know that right now. TN says, God bless you from the Midwest in the United States. You are sending a blessing of God from around the world to Israel, and we're sending it back. We are fulfilling this light onto the nations thing. The energy, the electricity that it's taking to do this is the light onto the nations. And you are blessing the God of Israel, and we're blessing you back. So just by watching the show, I know maybe I'm exaggerating, you might think, but no, I think we are actually fulfilling like the vision of Ezekiel and Isaiah, that the world will come and connect with Israel. Right now, by the way, Maka, on my screen, it tells me that we have 613 people watching live. See, so it's Taryag. And from Mexico, I've been to Mexico. I may have not been to Scandinavia, but I drove down to Cabo San Lucas, and I had a great time there. And Anguri says, shalom from Germany. God bless you guys in Germany, and let's help Germany get back to health. And we get hello from Australia. Woof! I've been to Australia twice. I've been to Australia. That's a lot for non-Australian people to be in Australia. And Heart from the Philippines. Okay, God bless you guys. Thank you so much. Wow, and there are people really from throughout the world. Shalom from New York. Yeah, New York. All right. Still, you know,
Former home of the United Nations.
That's
hopefully.
right. I still
Future
have some New
former
York
home
in
of the
me.
United Nations.
That's right. That's right. No, the United Nations needs to be shut down and restarted from Jerusalem.
You
That's
know,
where
with all the inflation, Nishai, it's time to cut the fat. We should put Elon Musk on that job also. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if the world could get some of that money back and put it into things that are useful?
the world wastes tons of money on stupid stuff. It's just there's so much waste. There's so much waste. All right, another friend from Toronto, and we also have here FEMA sends
Pretty
hearts
emojis
and emojis, and I appreciate that. And some of those emojis are not ones that are so usually used. So definitely awesome stuff. All right. From Arkansas, from France, people from around the world are showing up and are part of it. Thank you so much from wherever you are out there. And we're really sending you those blessings. Keep up the good work. I want to thank my team, Yo and Mo and Doe and the Malk. Here is Shalom from Papua New Guinea.
Yeesh, of course.
That's right. And the Yeesh, of course. And please do support us in the many different ways. If I didn't mention this, one great way to support us also is Fight for Israel. First thing, hello back to New Jersey there. I just saw somebody from New Jersey. Give it up, New Jersey.
Hey.
Fightforisrael.org. One of the things that we're doing is we're buying tractors for farming all over the land of Israel. And it's a beautiful thing. So help us get those tractors on the good land. Fight for Israel. Is that that's so easy. What do? I fight for Israel. Just say that. Say it out loud. I fight for Israel. Say it right now. Say it. I fight for Israel. I fight for Israel. When I say Israel, I don't just mean the state of Israel or the people of Israel. I also mean the God of Israel. I fight for Israel. Fightforisrael.org. It's just that easy. So thank you very much to the team, and thank you to the God of Israel for giving a chance to broadcast. I especially want to thank the co-hostess with the mostest, Malka Fleischer. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And thank you to all the good people out there in the world. And good luck to the new American administration, and good luck to the Israeli administration to use this opportunity as best as possible. Hashem, please give us the strength. Good luck to the armies of Israel. Take the bad guys, gotta go. And the good guys will prosper if we destroy the bad guys and give the good guys room in this world, good guys and gals in this room, a room in this world to do good. So God bless you wherever you are, Malka Fleischer. Thanks again. Thanks to the team, and blessings from the land of Israel, and shalom.
Shalom.